Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you a new product that I've been working on, and it's going to launch tomorrow, Wednesday the 14th. And it will demonstrate and hopefully help you to embed a process into your painting workflow that I have found to be the most significant contributor to my progress over the years as a landscape painter. Well, to those of you who are returning to the channel, thank you for tuning in. But if this is your first time, perhaps I ought to introduce myself. I'm Oliver Pyle. I'm an English landscape painter. I teach landscape painting and I write articles, and I've just written a book on the subject, and I paint the landscape exclusively in watercolour. I've been painting for 35 years now, and certainly for the last 13, it has been my main source of income. It's been a full-time job, selling my work to the public through galleries and online. And I have found one thing that has made a huge difference to my work over that time. And that's what I want to share with you through this new product. And essentially, it's a process that I call Inspire, Sketch, Paint. For me as a landscape painter, I won't pick up my brushes unless I'm inspired by the subject in front of me. I need to find some sort of emotional connection to it, or I don't really feel a need to paint. Providing that happens, I'll paint the scene. But there's something in the middle that often gets forgotten, ignored, or we just pretend it's sort of not important because we'd just rather get on with our painting. And it is the discipline of sketching. Now let me just explain the term so there's no misunderstanding there. When I say sketching, I'm not talking about necessarily pencil drawing. That may be the case, but you can be using any medium. You can be sketching in pastels, charcoal, pencil, pens, watercolour, oils, doesn't really matter. But it's the process of making some simple observations, some quick marks, where you are experimenting, where you are resolving ideas. And this is absolutely essential before you move from your inspiration to the final painting. For years, it was something that I would avoid. I just didn't want to have to go through this little process of working things out. In my mind, I just thought, you know what? I think I'm a bit better than that, and I can probably just get started with the painting. Well, that's not the case, and I have many failed works to show for that. I then realised that this was something that most professional artists did, so perhaps I ought to think about doing it too. Now, for those of you that have been on various of my retreats and workshops, you'll know that I talk about this a lot as an absolutely vital step in the creative process. But just speaking about it or reading about it in a book or an article or one of my YouTube videos that I may have done, it's all a little bit abstract. And so the purpose of this product is to demystify the process and to show you practically how to do it, hopefully to the point where you will come to rely on it because you see the results that it can bring you. So let me describe what this product is. I've put together a series of 12 projects. One will be released each month on the 14th of each month, and they are based around a photograph that I have taken of a place that I know, a place that I've been to, a place I'm familiar with, and a place that hopefully will also inspire you. You will receive a high-resolution digital download of the image for your use in this project. You will also receive a 2-page download that describes the image. There's just a little bit that I've put together there that helps you to perhaps enter into the atmosphere of the place and the scene, the time, so that it's not just a picture that's meaningless to you, but there's some sort of connection there. But most importantly, In that document, which is called the project brief, I will pose a number of questions to you, primarily around the ideas of colour, contrast and composition, where I start to provoke your thinking as to how you can turn that image, the inspiration, into a finished painting. I've deliberately selected images that are nice, don't get me wrong, I'm pleased with them, but they're not award-winning photographs by any stretch of the imagination. And that's deliberate because there are things that we can do to help enhance that particular scene. And so what the project brief should start to do is to activate your creative thinking. It will help you to be more analytical about scenes that you paint in future, but specifically these project scenes. Also within the project brief, I will give some suggestions with regard to equipment. It's only a suggestion, as I've always said, use what you're most comfortable with. And I will also suggest some pigments that I'm going to use for the painting and a few suggested colour mixes. Again, just suggestions. There will be another download, which is notes and sketches that I have done. And those sketches will be a combination, really, of little thumbnail sketches where I'm experimenting and trying ideas out. There may be value studies, there may be some colour swatching, but there'll be a final colour sketch, if you like, that I like to do before I launch into a finished painting, where I've had the opportunity to think through some of these issues, to resolve some of the questions in my mind before committing to the final painting on an expensive piece of paper. These projects will come along on the 14th of each month. Each product will be placed on my Patreon page and will be available to purchase as a one-off. There's no subscription required in order to access these. They will be there in the shop section, and I'll put details and a link to that in the description down below. But you can just buy one, look at the next month one and go, that image doesn't really float my boat, so I'm going to give that one a skip and see what comes along in March. There's no ongoing subscription requirement. The cost of the projects is $20 US, and that's just because my Patreon page is priced in dollars, so 15 of your British pounds, or whatever it is, 17-ish euros, something like that. But $20 US, and you will receive the high-res download, the project brief, and the notes and sketches. And off you go. That's a project for you that month. And of course, you all have your own busy lives and your other painting projects, but I think it's enough to get your teeth into during a month period. Now let me just give you a few tips on how to get the most out of these projects, and perhaps how not to go about them. The first thing I would do if I was doing this, or my advice to you, is to download the image. Have a look at it. Make your own appraisal as to whether or not it's a good image, whether or not in your mind you think you could improve upon it in a painting. Think about the wider area. So for example, this month I have a wintry scene of some oak trees in Sussex. Google Sussex, look at the wider area, go on to Pinterest, go on to Google Images, start to feel your way around the area a little bit if it's a place that you've never been to. This all helps you with your understanding of the scene. But most importantly, look at it first yourself before you have a look at the project brief. Once you've downloaded the project brief, go through the points and the questions that I've raised there, and no doubt you'll have some other observations as well. Jot those down and start to play around with some ideas. Learning in watercolour painting or landscape painting, which is a creative endeavour, comes from experimentation. It doesn't come from copying. Copying works well in more academic subjects, but it doesn't work so well in watercolour landscape painting. So experiment, start making some little sketches, start playing around with some ideas, asking yourself whether or not that tree could maybe be moved there slightly and perhaps the whole composition would look better. Then do a little sketch and play around with that, and you decide. It's up to you. Once you feel that you've started to explore some of the questions that you have, some of the points that I have highlighted in the project brief, then download a copy of my notes and my sketches. Now, it's important to say, my output on that download is not definitive, and it's not right. There's no right or wrong answers to this. You may well, in fact, I hope you do, come up with some completely different ideas to mine. That's the whole point of creativity. But have a look at my sketches. You'll start to understand my thought process when I approach a scene. You will see how I use these little sketches as a methodology to resolve ideas so that when I come to a final painting, I sort of know which direction it's going to go in. Now, of course, you can download the notes and sketches the moment you purchase the product. Of course you can, there's no problem. But I don't think you're going to be getting the most out of this exercise if you do that. If that's what you want to do, if you want to circumvent the creative process, my suggestion would be simply to go and, I don't know, purchase a step-by-step painting tutorial, or a paint along with me or something like that. This product doesn't do that. This product is there to help you to think creatively, to help you think like an artist. This is what an artist does when they're confronted with a scene. And I am asked this all the time on my courses, my workshops. People say to me, do you know what? I see so many lovely things I want to paint, but I just don't know where to start, really. I'm actually quite a good painter. I'm okay with colour mixing and my brushwork's quite good, but I'll see new subjects and I just get overwhelmed and I don't really know where to start because I'm used to having a guide to tell me how to do them all the time. Well, hopefully this will enable you to start thinking like an artist, more analytical, which oddly enough is a stepping stone to creativity, because the fear goes away. You start to understand your subject and you can loosen up and approach it in a more dynamic fashion. I just want to add something else in here too, as another reason, if you like, why I thought these projects would be good to do. I hear often from followers and friends saying, Ollie, do you know what? You've got it really easy, because the landscapes you paint in Sussex and Dorset, they're just stunningly beautiful. How could you not get inspired by them? Whereas for me, I walk around the corner and it's just an old industrial warehouse, or there's a disused quarry down the road and there's trucks going past all the time, and I just don't have those landscapes to paint. Well, beauty can be found in the ordinary subjects for sure, but I get that comment. I do understand that I'm very blessed to live where I live and have access to these wonderful landscapes. So if you're unable to get outdoors into the landscape in a way that you would want to, if you're unable to find inspiration, if you're not able to come on the retreats or the workshops that I do where we paint outdoors on location, well, maybe this is another alternative. I'm going to share with you some of these scenes that I love to paint. I've put together these 12 images from Sussex, Dorset, Virginia in the United States, from Puglia in Italy, from Tuscany in Italy, and there are a range of subjects here. We've got trees, we've got open vistas, we've got coastal scenes, harbour scenes, street scenes. So not only will these projects be of benefit to you as you confront and resolve the challenges in these subjects, but also subjects that you like to paint, but you'll also get access to some beautiful landscapes across a range of subjects, and that in and of itself will only help you to become a more versatile painter. So let me give you a quick introduction to Patreon. I have a page there that has exclusive subscription-based content. I'm working my way through a landscape painting course. I write articles, and there are other benefits in addition to that. But that comes with a $9 monthly subscription, and this product will sit outside of that. If you sign up to my Patreon page as a free member, you will receive a notification from me each time a new project goes live. You don't need to be subscribed to the £9 a month subscription. That's important to state. If you would like to and feel you could benefit from the other content, then of course, please feel free to do so. But each month, the projects will be available in the shop for a one-off purchase. Now, if you are an existing patron, as always, thank you ever so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Of course, you'll be able to access these projects too. And if you have been a paying member for more than 3 months, you will receive a 50% discount whilst you remain an active subscribed member. So that's just a little thank you really for your support. The link to my Patreon page is in the description down below. And of course, if you have any questions, just please post something in the comments section here and I can go through those with you. But hopefully everything should be fairly straightforward. Well, there's very little more to say really. That's the product, a monthly project that will help you to explore and understand this essential process of inspire, sketch, paint for yourselves. But thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the projects. If you're new to the channel, perhaps you'd be so kind to give it a thumbs up because that really helps. It just helps the channel to grow. And of course, if you subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon, you'll get a notification each time I post a new video here on YouTube too. That's it for now, folks. Thank you. Happy painting. I'll see you soon.